SCP-3745. Object Class, Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The remains of SCP-3745 are to be held in a standard containment locker. Due to the cessation of its anomalous properties, testing of SCP-3745 is no longer a priority, plus obsolete containment procedures. Access granted. SCP-3745 is to be stored in a standard non-humanoid holding cell. Physical contact is not to be made with SCP-3745 outside of a TUPRS event unless for the purpose of testing. Prior to the initiation of a TUPRS event, primary subjects are to detail all previous romantic partners within Procedural Documentation Survey 3745-1. Individuals detailed in this document are to be monitored remotely by Foundation operatives during the initiation of the TUPRS event. Following the displacement of the secondary subject, Class A amnestics are to be administered to any civilian witnesses present. If alive upon the conclusion of a TUPRS event, secondary subjects are to be amnesticized and returned to their place of residence following a health screening. If deceased upon the conclusion of a TUPRS event, secondary subjects are to be autopsied and disposed of accordingly. TTT. Description: SCP-3745 is an amalgamation consisting of components from two human skeletons. Based on the shape of the mandible and pelvic regions, SCP-3745's skeletal components are believed to originate from an adolescent male and female. The left and right halves of SCP-3745 are fused along the longitudinal axis at the pelvis, and diverge along the lower spinal cord into two torsos connected by the ribs and two separate skulls. SCP-3745's skeletal components are believed to have been fused through temperatures in excess of 1700 degrees Celsius, as evidenced by the amorphous hydroxylapatite molecular structure found at points of fusion. The phrases 1 and 2 are engraved on SCP-3745's left and right T2 vertebrae, respectively. SCP-3745 emits constant but negligible levels of gamma radiation. Any human, henceforth designated the primary subject, who makes physical contact with SCP-3745 will undergo a TUPRS Event 3. During a TUPRS event, the primary subject, as well as any materials attached to their person, will be instantly transported to a location designated SCP-3745-1. Another individual, hereafter designated the secondary subject, will also be displaced to SCP-3745-1 from their current location at this time. The secondary subject is invariably someone who the primary subject has experienced a romantic attachment to. While a TUPRS event is in progress, no other subjects can be displaced to SCP-3745-1, and SCP-3745 can be touched without incident. SCP-3745-1 contains a largely arid desert environment, the size and extent of which is currently unknown. The sky is perpetually hazy, and temperatures average between -12 degrees Celsius and 14 degrees Celsius. No plant life has been found within SCP-3745-1. Multiple streets, houses, and buildings are present within SCP-3745-1, all in various states of damage and dilapidation. No inhabitants of SCP-3745-1 have been found. SCP-3745-1 exhibits unsafe levels of radiation 4. However, displaced subjects experience neither short-term nor long-term symptoms expected from radiation exposure of this caliber, instead typically expiring from dehydration within days of displacement due to the scarcity of liquid water within SCP-3745-1. A TUPRS event ends when one or both of the displaced subjects ceases vital functions. Upon the conclusion of a TUPRS event, both subjects, or the remains thereof, will return to baseline reality, reappearing in the approximate location of their initial displacement. Addendum 3745.1, Experiment Log 3745-04, Primary Subject, D7721, Secondary Subject, Margaret Ross, no witnesses during displacement, disappearance attributed to a non-anomalous abduction, procedure, primary subject was equipped with a standard Foundation expedition pack containing enough water and dehydrated nutritional supplements to enable approximately 3 weeks of travel for 2 individuals. Primary subject was instructed to explore the surrounding area of SCP-3745-1, and to record anything of note in a provided journal. Initiation date, 03/28/1962, conclusion date, 02/14/2018, results, Tukris event lasted far longer than expected. Both subjects returned heavily aged and deceased. Clothing and other materials attached to the subjects were severely burned, but the subjects themselves were unscathed. Cause of death could not be determined. Following the conclusion of the Tukris event, SCP-3745 disintegrated into calcium phosphate granules. These granules did not display any of SCP-3745's former properties. The cover and edges of D7721's journal were charred, but its contents were mostly legible. Notable excerpts from D7721's journal are attached below, plus input credentials, access granted, photograph found within D7721's journal, day 1, I guess, okay, so I just touched the weird skeleton thing, and now I'm in. I don't know, it looks kind of like a bedroom. I'm going to have a look around. Yep, it's a bedroom. I think it's a children's bedroom. There are lots of framed pictures of a kid. They're all pretty blurry though. They look old. Everything in this room is dusty, like it hasn't been touched in ages. Alright, I've explored the rest of the house, everything's old and abandoned. Also the roof caved in on what I think is the kitchen. There's this weird feeling, like this whole place is kind of familiar. Don't know why though. My house looked nothing like this. I'm looking around outside now. Everything's fucked out here as well. Just dusty streets and half-destroyed buildings. Hang on, I hear something. Guess who I just fucking found? Fucking Margaret. She was a few houses down from me, yelling for help. You dickhead scientists said there would be someone else here, but I didn't think you were gonna abduct my fucking high school girlfriend. Is this why you had me fill out that Godam form? I swear to God I'll fucking kill all of you if I ever get out of here. Day 2, alright, I've calmed down a bit now. Margaret has too. She's handling this much better than I would have if I was in her situation. Apparently she was making dinner in her apartment when she got sent here without any warning. At least I knew something fucked up would happen when I touched that skeleton. I tried to act like I didn't know what was going on either, but she could always see right through me. I ended up telling her that I was forced to work for some scientists who do Area 51 type bullshit, which isn't a lie, just the truth minus some facts, and I got sent here in one of their experiments. I had no idea she would be sent here too, and she seemed to believe me on that. We explored some of the surrounding area. Old and abandoned, just like the house. No signs of any food or water either. There were street signs on some of the corners, but they weren't in English. Margaret said they were in Russian, so I guess we're in Russia? I don't think Russia is supposed to be this wrecked, but I haven't exactly been keeping up on current events. Day 3, Margaret and I decided to travel in one direction and see if we can find some form of life. So far there's still nothing but destruction. We did a lot of catching up while we wandered through the city. Margaret's in grad school now, studying psychology. It's funny to see how responsible she's gotten. Back in high school neither of us had any future plans. We always talked about running away and living in the Everglades or the Pine Barrens or some shit, anywhere where we wouldn't have to deal with college and money and all that stupid man-made stuff. Margaret was pretty calm the entire time we talked. It feels like she's adjusting to this whole thing unnaturally fast. I think I am too. I know this situation is fucked up, but for some reason I just can't bring myself to care all that much. I know this probably isn't the kind of stuff you scientists want me writing down, but on the other hand you sent me into an apocalyptic wasteland, so fuck you. If one of you bureaucrats has to spend hours sifting through my personal thoughts in order to find anything of scientific value, then that's a small victory for me. Day 6, I noticed something weird about the buildings. Margaret noticed something weird about the buildings. Alright Margs, you got me. A lot of the damage seems like normal fire and explosion type stuff, but some of it isn't. One house has a perfectly circular hole through it, about 10 feet wide. Perfectly smooth. Another building was completely sideways and buried about 5 feet in the ground. No signs that it was knocked over, it just looked like it was placed there. Really freaky shit. We actually ended up camping out in the house with the hole in it. Marg said she liked the view. We'll continue exploring tomorrow. Day 12, the farther we travel, the more fucked up the landscape is. All the skyscrapers have been bent and twisted in ways I didn't think were possible. Margs tried to walk through one of the front doors and instead came right out the back door as if there was nothing in between. Every building is messed up in some unique way. Also, there are these ripples in the air, like when it's hot out, but they're only in small clusters. I threw a rock at one, and it disappeared for a few seconds before reappearing in the same place. I tried to pick it up, but it burned my hand. It's not all bad though. Margaret and I discussed our options, and we've decided to choose a permanent shelter, since things only seem to be getting worse the farther we travel, and the rations will last longer if we conserve our energy. Margs picked out a nice house by what I think used to be a lake. It's not the least damaged house in the area, but she said she liked the layout. I might try to fix up the place eventually. A lot of the second story has collapsed, but we'll see. Day 14, great news. We finally found food and water. One of the weird sky ripples has a stream of water falling out of it. It looks like it's falling out of nothing. It's really weird. It's salt water, and it's scalding hot, but Marg says she can rig something to purify it and make it drinkable. Between this and starting the campfires every night, I don't know what I'd do without her. She says she knows all this stuff because she was a Girl Scout, but I was a Boy Scout for a while and I don't remember any of this. She's really something. As for food, Marg says she saw rats scuttling under an open sewer grate about a quarter of a mile away. We're gonna use what's left of our food supply to try to lure them into some traps. Hopefully they like the taste of these nutrient bars more than I do. I feel like I should be unnerved by the idea of eating a rat, but I'm not. It just feels normal. This whole trip has, day 17, you will not believe what I found this morning. I was wandering around the city, setting up some of our rat traps, when suddenly I found this army tank looking thing. I mean, it wasn't like a regular tank, or at least not one I've ever seen. It's got a big glass sphere where the cannon part should be, and big spidery legs instead of treads. I took a look inside, pressing buttons and such, and I actually got it to work. I can't get the top part to rotate or the glass sphere to do anything, but I can make it walk forwards at least, although one of its legs seems to be broken. I rode it back to our house, and I swear I haven't seen Marg smile that much since prom. We took turns driving each other around in it. It was just like back in high school. Is it bad that I'm enjoying this? Day 18, I told Margs everything. I told her about all the mistakes I made that got me stuck working for you Mad Scientists 5. I told her how part of me knew she would end up here with me, and how part of me is happy she did. No, not part of me, all of me. I'm happy that we're here together, as fucked up as that may be. I just couldn't keep it to myself anymore. She seemed so relieved when I told her. She said she had been feeling the same way, and that the guilt was getting to her just like it was for me. I hardly even know what happened after that. It was like something took control of us, and next thing I knew we were kissing. I know it hasn't even been 3 weeks, and I know you scientists will chalk this up to some weird paranormal mind control or something, but I don't care. We're happy here, we're home. Note, it is believed that D7721 stopped using the journal for an extensive period of time following this entry. Day hell if I know. Geez, this brings back memories. I haven't seen this thing in forever. Must have gotten buried under all the clutter in the house. Sorry if that leaves a big hole in your research, scientists, but to be honest, your research hasn't been a priority for me recently. But I guess as long as I'm writing, I might as well give you a little update. I tied the knot with Margaret a few years ago. It was a small ceremony, as you can imagine. Still, it was amazing. We aren't planning on having any kids or anything. We aren't about to Adam and Eve this place. We were never too keen on the family life anyway, so it's not a big loss. We fixed up the house. It looks pretty much normal, if you ignore all the skinned rats hanging in the kitchen. It took some time, but it really does feel like a home to us now. There's also a bunch of other weird apocalyptic stuff that we've discovered around town. That spider tank was just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to freaky sci-fi shit. I'm sure you scientists would love to hear all about it, but I'm not your lab rat anymore. You guys can touch that skeleton yourselves if you want to know so damn bad. Note, following this entry, D7721 began using the journal on an infrequent basis. His entries became shorter, and provided less information regarding SCP-3745-1. A sample of these entries has been presented below. 5th anniversary today. We used one of the larger rats we'd been saving for the occasion. Made rat mignon. It was really nice. Found a massive rat down by the roundabout. Almost 2 feet long. Took him home with me and named him Scooter. I always wanted a dog. Explored a building few miles south that I always thought looked familiar. Looked like a school or something. Found a basketball with a hole in it. Now I just need some duct tape. Tank broke down today. Tried getting underneath it to see what was wrong and nearly threw out my back. I'm not as young as I used to be. She's still so beautiful, even after all this time. Note, following this entry, D7721 appeared to undergo a change in behavior, and began writing in greater detail. The feeling is back. The feeling that we're supposed to be here. I suppose it never left. I've always been aware of its presence, but it's been dormant for years now. We haven't needed it. We've been happy, but now it's stronger, and it's telling us that we're not supposed to be here anymore. It wants us to travel east. Margaret feels it too. We've packed some supplies, and we're going to head out in the morning. Hopefully the journey isn't too far. Margaret's knees have begun to ache when she walks, and my chest hurts whenever I exert myself too much. We'll just take it slow and see what happens. The landscape is getting more desolate with each day of travel. Most of the buildings are just piles of rubble now. The ripples are growing more common. They make it hard to see in some directions, but the path we're following is mostly clear. The feeling is getting stronger. A feeling of closure. I don't know how to describe it. It's like we've spent our whole lives completing some important task, and now all that's left is to reach this destination. It's an uplifting feeling, but not a bit unsettling. There aren't any buildings anymore. Just miles of empty desert in all directions. The ripples are more common now. We have to deviate from the path frequently in order to get by them. They radiate heat, so it burns to get too close. I'm not sure how long can avoid it, though. The land has started tilting downward. It wasn't noticeable at first, but now it's really steep. It's a nightmare for Margaret's legs, so I've been helping her. It won't be long now. I can feel it. Jesus Christ, it's hot. There are ripples everywhere. I don't know how much more of this we can take. There are puddles on the ground. They aren't water. There's some silvery substance. Holy shit, I just looked at Margaret's reflection in the water, and it's not her. It's some other girl. And my reflection is some other guy. Oh my god, it's the kid. The kid from the picture. He looks older, but it's definitely him. He's smiling at us. He's so happy. He's so happy, the ground has leveled out. We're in some kind of crater. We can barely see at this point, it's just ripples all around. Ripples all around. Boiling, there's a heart. No, two hearts, kind of fused together, floating in the center. Beating so loud. Burning so hot. But they won't be beating much longer, I see it now. This is where it began, and where it must end. They were in love. All this time they were in love. We were in love. Now they have returned to accept their fate. They are grateful, but they are ready to go now, ... We are ready to go now. Point 6, footnotes, 1. Two lovers in eternal embrace, 2. Stolen by a descending flame, 3. Direct contact with the skin is not required. Secondary contact through adjacent materials such as clothing will also trigger a Tukras event, 4. Approximately 500 MSV/H, 5. Prior to enlistment at the Foundation, D-7721 was incarcerated for armed robbery and drug trafficking. This statement is believed to be in reference to these crimes. 6. We thank you for giving your love. Through it we have experienced the years together that were stolen by war. Our time has passed, as well as yours. We wish you luck in what happens next.